Pickaxe.
It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But here's a big one you need to hear. Billions. That's the amount of money in refunds the IRS has flagged for possible identity fraud. Now here's another big number. 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. One last big number. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/podcast for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
Hey y'all, it's time for Rolling Dice and Taking Names. In this episode, the guys review Arkwright, Plum Island Horror expansion More of a Bad Thing, Pondscape, and Film Fatale with Vanessa. Oh, I'm sorry. That was parentheses. That's me. Ha! And Film Fatale with me.
Hello and welcome to episode number 370, Snowblind. I'm Tony.
I'm Marty.
And I am snowblind. At my house, I know this will be released a week later here in Charlotte, North Carolina, Marty's birthday weekend, we received at least 11 inches at my house. It was ridiculous. How about you down there 45 minutes away?
Yep, pretty much the same situation. I saw this morning that this ties a record for putting it in the top 5 of all time, the amount of snow ever in one snowfall in Charlotte at 11 inches. The last time, 2004.
I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Were you in their current house in 2004?
I was not because we moved in the end of 2004 and it was in January of 2004. Yeah.
Okay. Because I remember that when it came in and it was like, Charlotte hardly got anything, but man, down in the Waxhaw Indian Trail land, for y'all who don't know where that's at, it was like a big wave that came through, just how it all set up, just like this one. Some parts of the Carolinas got, 1 to 3 inches. Meanwhile, the Metro Charlotte and Gastonia and up and down the I-85, I-77 corridors, they got hammered with snow. And some of my favorite videos, along with pets playing in snow, are the people trying to drive down here in snow. That's just I know people need to go somewhere, Marty, but why?
My sister just sent a video. She went out to drive for fun. She's got like a sedan. And so she went to her local school parking lot, was doing donuts in the parking lot and stuff. So, and I used to do that too. I don't have the right vehicle anymore. Doing it in an SUV is just not fun. So I have a really long driveway and I tried to, it's like shoveling it, forget it. I don't even have the right snow shovel. So I did get the leaf blower out. I was just trying to blow some of the powder off. It's like 11 inches, forget this. So today, this is the day after the big snowstorm. It's a little above freezing and the sun's out. And so what I did is I got in the car and I've been going up and down the driveway, kind of mashing out the snow to kind of expose the driveway underneath. Mm-hmm. So the radiant heat from that can kind of, melt the snow from underneath. And it's working. It's starting to clear out tracks on the driveway.
Look at you being all engineerish there. Radiant heat, melting it out. We got out there and we shoveled that stuff. We had a big old snow shovel still from 2004, after 2004, and just I've hung on to it. Don't need to use it. Don't want to use it. So I know everybody's like, "Oh, y'all a bunch of wusses." Yes, we are.
Yes, we are. I mean, we do. Every time this comes up, we do not have the infrastructure. We do not have the snow plows, the snow blowers, the trucks that are constantly out taking care of it. I mean, literally, somebody said, "Do y'all just shut down?" We go, "Yes," and the reason why is because we know. In a couple days, we can already look at the forecast. It's going to be above freezing, stay above freezing, and all this will melt away. I know schools all have been canceled for Monday, and I know I'm not going into work tomorrow. We've already said, just work from home tomorrow. Tuesday, it'll probably be fine.
And that wouldn't be such a thing if we hadn't already experienced just work from home. I can already hear you telling your grandkids, well, I remember when it used to snow and we didn't go to school. We didn't have to go anywhere. We just had snow days and we had to make them up. Now they're like, we got to get online. I'm like, oh, poor things.
Yeah, that's true. I was actually looking at the top 5 heaviest storms in Charlotte. So do you remember, and I don't remember where I was on January 7th, 1988, when we got 12 inches. So we would have been in college. Were we at the apartment? Okay, you had this weird thing. I don't know if you were co-oping that semester or not. I can't remember whether I stayed here or went on to Raleigh to the apartment.
So in fall of 88 to 89, we were roommates.
It would have been my junior year, second semester, junior year, January 88.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to track back. We were roommates 88, 89 because you
Correct.
graduated.
Yep.
And so 87, 88, I was still a co-op working at Duke, and I had to drive to work in my mom's Mazda because I had front wheel drive to McGuire, which is 45 minutes. And needless to say, the roads were not the same. And they let us go at noon. And they said, by the way, you that are hourly, you're not going to get paid unless you want to stay. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm out of here. And I remember my mom was worried sick because didn't have a cell phone.
A cell phone or what? We didn't know what that was at the time.
Didn't have a mobile phone in the car, car phone. None of that stuff existed. So, yeah, I remember driving home. I remember I had to pull in to clean off my windshield wipers. And let's just say I didn't hit the driveway, but luckily I was okay. I went over a curb because they said stay off of the main interstates because it was just people were just everywhere. So I took a back road home, which was stupid, but I made it home okay. It took me forever.
Do you remember our senior year in college when we did room together? The snow and going down into the basement. Mm-hmm. We were bad and found a dishwasher that wasn't in use, and we took the door off the front because it was aluminum, and that became our sled.
Idiots. Yes, I remember that. Could have used a basket or something, but yes, a bunch of idiots. Well, that's what people were using here. They were using clothes hamper baskets around the neighborhood today. So that's snow in North Carolina, y'all. Come on down, enjoy it. It happens once every 20 years, so a big one. Yeah. And that's all we need.
Yeah. A couple of days from now, I'll be ready for it to be gone, and it'll actually start going away. So you titled this episode Snowblind, which is from my all-time favorite bands, Styx, from the album Paradise Theater. Amazing song about dealing with cocaine addiction.
And that's what do you call cocaine in lingo? Back in the old days, snow. Okay, we're right there.
Snow.
I did not know it was about that.
Can't live without you. You didn't know it was about that? Mirror,
I never really looked into stuff.
Mirror, I confess I can't escape this emptiness. Yeah, that was a cool song too because it had James Young and Tommy Shaw that were singing back and forth. I always liked it. So they had 3 lead singers. So I always thought it was cool when they would take one song and split. Somebody do the verse, somebody do the chorus sort of deal. Because typically whoever wrote it sang it.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Did not know that. All right. So we've entertained everybody about weather. That's old people, man. Talk about the weather. You should feel it, man. Feel it in your joints. I'm going to have to take some meloxicam tonight from shoveling. Oh, man, this sucks. I wish I had some type of, cybernetic. Thank you.
Wow. That's his segue, y'all. So, all right. So, look, you've been listening to the show for a while. I'm always interested in trying any card game. Love card games. So, there's a new one that's going to be coming out to Kickstarter. This is the official Cyberpunk trading card game from a company called Weirdco. But they have a license for Cyberpunk. Now, a lot of people may think, oh, you mean the video game Cyberpunk 2077, which, yes, that is the same universe. But this also goes back to Cyberpunk, the RPG that started in the 80s. So this is a world that's been around for decades, started out as a role-playing game, not a video game, tabletop role-playing game. And then several years ago, I guess a lot of years ago, CD Projekt Red came out with Cyberpunk 2077. And it's interesting that when that game came out, it didn't do that well. There's a lot of issues with it, but through some expansions and patches and stuff, it got supposedly really good. So last year when the Switch 2 came out, one of the day one releases was Cyberpunk 2077, and my son got it, and I asked him how it was. He said, it's actually really good. So it's one of those games I was always going to pick up. Well, now there's going to be a trading card game that's going to be coming out on Kickstarter. Main Deck Dan, who I've talked to before, who'd been on our show in the past when we did the interview, did the official rules video for this game. I'm always looking, it's like, how is a card game different? Now, it has a lot of similarities to other games we've already played. For example, you're going to have a resource row that during your turn, There are some cards which has a symbol on it, which can go down in your resource row, spend resources, play cards. Then you can attack. And you have attackers, defenders. Okay, all that's kind of generic stuff that we've seen many times before. What's different is, as part of the deck building mechanic, is you're going to have basically like 3 leaders that's going to start out in your resource row, and they're face down. They're shuffled and put face down, so you don't know where they are. But those are part of your resources. But over the course of the game, you can spend resources to flip those face up. And once they're face up, it may have a passive ability, or you can may pay for it to bring it into play as an actual unit. That's interesting because if you do that, that's one less card in your resource row, one less things to play with. And again, this kind of drives how your deck is going to be built. But what's interesting too is, in a lot of games like this, the goal is to take somebody's health to 0. Not the case here. This is different.
What?
Each of you start out with a set of 7 dice, your typical RPG dice, D4, D6, D8, D10, D12, D20. And at the beginning of your turn, you're going to take one of your dice, roll it, and put it in the in between you. And those are going to be out there, and the values on those dice are going to be the total value on your dice is going to be called street cred. Some cards are going to say, if you have a street cred of X, you get this ability. Or it may say, if you can increase your die, add 2 to your die, and if it's at max or more, something happens. So sometimes low dice are good, sometimes high dice are good. But how you win the game is when you attack. You can attack to steal one of those dice, and they're called gigs. So you can steal the other player's gig and get it onto your side of the table. If you ever happen to, at the beginning of your turn, to have 6 total dice, you win the game. So these dice that keep coming into play each round, you're fighting back and forth for control of. But in addition, the values on these dice are used to activate some cards that you may have in your deck.
Okay. When you first started talking about this, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, this sounds familiar with dice and rolling. And I got it confused with Shadowfire what was it called? Shadowrun Crossfire.
Right.
Right. And I'm like, how is this going to be different? But it sounds, really different, of course, because of what they're doing with it. Well, okay. Well, I mean, I wish them success on this. Now, am I willing to invest in this? I don't know. I will follow your lead as always. But I mean, we're so into Star Wars right now. But I am interested in the play. I mean, that does sound a lot different.
Right.
You know?
And it's one of those things, I'll always buy a starter deck of anything sort of deal. Mm-hmm. I'm always interested just to see how something is different. And the fact of how the leaders are in your resource rows and that these dice, and when I first heard there was dice, I went, I'm out because I don't want randomness in a card game, but the dice themselves and the values on them don't play a huge part in determining winners and losers. It's just there to add some more mechanism. They did say that, hey, early on, these very simple rules, the dice aren't really used a lot, but we have plans for how these dice and the values on the dice can help implement or be used in the card game with the goal of making sure that just random roll doesn't really screw somebody up sort of deal. So I'm really curious to see where they go with it. They're going to start sending out some alpha kits. There's some content curators going to get them. I'm going to check out and see what they say. But then when the Kickstarter comes out, I'm just going to see, all right, do they have some starter decks? And maybe I'll try it out. I do appreciate the fact that they are going to Kickstarter first, because this avoids the whole thing that we just saw with Riftbound. Oh, Riftbound sounds interesting. Can't find it, get it anywhere. They said they're going this way. It's like, look, we know the initial demand right off the bat. We have a Kickstarter. We need X amount of boxes because that's how many people bought, and then we'll print a little bit more. But if you want to play it day one, you will be guaranteed to play it, which eliminates all the issues that you had with a game like Riftbound or other games like Lorcana. When they come out, you just can't get them.
Right. That'll be good. But then you could also have something that comes out and then suddenly everybody just shuts it down, like that one that we saw at
Altered
Gen Con a couple years ago.
Altered. Yeah. Well, that failed for reasons I specified that day when we were showed that game. I said, I do not see how your business model is going to work. And it's like, we've got this all figured out. They've gone back to starting using Kickstarter now because they just can't release product and guarantee how much is going to be sold. the last Kickstarter they had, they kept having to extend the days. They said, look, if we don't sell this amount, we're going to have to shut this game down. And they happened to sell enough to keep going. It was not good. I knew their business model of trying to sell digital cards and having unique cards and trading cards and print and play cards just didn't feel right. And obviously it's not, because I knew when the local game store owners had no interest in supporting the game because they really couldn't make any money off of it, I knew the game was almost DOA.
You gotta have the game stores.
Yes.
You gotta have that. Matter of fact, I was in Pineville the other night near Charlotte, and I went by our old game store, and it was packed on Friday night, and we all know why, because of magic. We knew that it would transition to that, right? Because you got to have that income. You got to have that growth from that crowd, which is great.
Yeah, and he originally said that he had no intentions of doing magic, or, hey, we're going to be strictly board games. And I appreciate that he initially tried, but what the money's there, man. You got to pay rent, you got to pay lease, you got to keep the doors open. And the best way to do that is through a collectible card game. Yeah,
exactly.
It really is.
Get that group coming in, get that people wanting to play the tournaments, things like that. And I know with the new Star Wars release that you're looking at, you'll probably be able to get to play in some of those that are going to be coming out. So that'd be great.
All of us. Well, I want to go and do at least one.
Man.
What?
I think I'm busy that weekend.
Oh my gosh.
Get my beat down.
It's a sealed event. It's not constructed. Those are really casual. All right. And fun. All right. So we have a brand new taste buds. And as always, it's as long as Mountain Dew keeps putting out new flavors, we'll keep doing taste buds.
As long as it's not silly freaking Coke flavors of vanilla, at least this is something good, I hope. Taste buds. Taste buds. Taste buds. Two incredible stuff. Taste buds, two incredible stuff. Taste buds, they're just a bunch of.
So Vanessa found this one. This is it's a zero sugar Mountain Dew. Here's the flavor: Baja Cabo Citrus, which is a tropical citrus punch. Now, do you like Baja Blast?
I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I've ever tried Baja Blast.
Okay.
I know it was at Taco Bell, and I know it's been out for a while.
No, it still is a Taco Bell.
It's still at Taco Bell? Okay, I don't get to go to Taco Bell.
I go every Friday for lunch. I'm bad. Baja Blast is one of those I used to like, and I kind of got tired of it, so I don't really drink it anymore. So I'm curious about this. I typically like tropical punch flavors. So we'll see how this one is. But hey, it's a really colorful can, though.
I like that. Yeah. All right. It's got orange. I'm excited. I see orange and lime, so that's good.
All right. First, do the.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
So
nice smell.
Smell the orange for sure. All right, here we go.
All right.
Okay. I get the tropical punch taste.
I'm leaning a lot towards the orange.
Agreed. I don't get a lot of the lime.
No. And you know what it tastes like? Orange Crush to me. The Coke product, Orange Crush.
This is one of those drinks that if I just had it by itself, it'd be fine. I don't think I'd want it with a meal.
Yeah. This is our port wine, our dessert wine.
I don't know what that means, but you said dessert wine. So is that something you're supposed to be sweet to have with dessert?
Yes. A port is a very, yes. Very thick, very sweet port wine.
It's not like the Coke Orange that we just had that we couldn't give away.
Oh God,
that stuff was so
that
bad.
was nasty.
Brought it to game night, and it's like, anybody want this? And Bert's like, I'll try. It's like, this is horrible. It's like, yes, it is.
That was nasty, but it tastes really good. I like this. Yum.
Yeah.
In
fact,
this.
I'm going to be sipping it as we talk about some games that we got to play recently. Each of us got a copy of the new 20th anniversary of Neuroshima Hex. Right here, got it in my hands. Thank you. Ignacy and Chevy for sending that to us. This includes the 4 original factions that came in the game. But Tony, what's so nice about this? Yeah, sure, it includes 8 unique scenarios and everything like that. What I love, dual layer board, baby, for the player board. Mm-hmm. No more accidentally, we hit the table and everything slid everywhere.
That's right. And I'll have to agree with you. I mean, I've got all the hex stuff that's available. I love playing it. I really need to teach Donna how to play Neuroshima Hex, see if she could do it. She likes tile laying games. That's all it is. It's a simple tile laying game.
2-player, and it plays in like 20 minutes. And they're constantly coming out with new factions. For example, Wireman just came out.
Deep beneath the ruins of Seattle, a hidden civilization thrives in defense of Moloch's oppressive grasp. That's the Wireman. Introduces a new gameplay mechanism, including innovative technology tokens designed as a flexible and aggressive army with straightforward rules. Wireman adds a bold new layer of strategy and decision-making to Neuroshima Hex.
And that was right off the top of your head.
Yes, it was. Looking forward to that. And I know Ignacy put out a video recently about why do people not like Hex in America? You got me. I'm befuddled. I don't know.
I don't know that people don't like Hex. I just don't think enough people have tried it. Neuroshima Hex is a solid 2-player game. It's extremely competitive with a lot of options. If you've never played it, now is the time to do it. This 20th anniversary edition is absolutely amazing. And right now you can get it over at shopportalgames.com. We've had a long time relationship with the company Capstone Games. Always been a fan of a lot of their Euro games because I think they kind of lean into those heavy Euros when they first started out. And also the owner, Clay Ross, is just such a great guy. And he kind of knows what games to pick to put in his library. Back in 2014, one of his early games was a game called Arkwright from designer Stefan Ristos. We got a copy of this game, and I remember trying to learn how to play it and sitting down and trying to play through it, and we just couldn't do it. It was like, and this was 12 years ago, so maybe we just didn't understand how these games work. Something just wasn't clicking. So there's a anniversary edition that was just released, a new version that came out, and we got a copy of it, and we said, okay, let's try this again. Now, there's 2 versions of this game. There's the long version called Waterframe and the shorter version called Spinning Mule. We got together to play Spinning Mule. This is a game that pretty much mimics running a business, running factories in the 1800s. It's called Arkwright because it's after an inventor named Richard Arkwright, who invented things like something called the Waterframe and the Spinning Jenny, which helped the industrialization in Britain. So that's where the name comes from. And so that's what we're doing. And Tony, when you got to the house and I had everything set up and you look at the table, it looks like a large, just 3D spreadsheet.
Actually, it was very impressive. I mean, we got there. It was like, all right, I see what we're going to be doing here. It seemed pretty straightforward, to be honest with you.
Straightforward.
You know, it did. I mean, you went through the whatchamacallit, the flavor text. You were telling me all about it. But it just seemed like, okay, this makes sense. When you look at the layout, anytime that you sit down at the table and you're looking at the layout of the board, and you're looking at your own player stuff, and you're like, okay, how is this going to work? What am I going to be doing here? And it kind of comes naturally. That's always good. You're able to quickly pick up on stuff.
The winner is determined simply by how many shares do you own times the value of those shares. The person with the highest value wins. That's pretty much it. The thing is, though, is how do you drive up the value of your shares and get more shares? That's the whole part of the game. What did you feel about the rules of the game? I mean, there's kind of a lot to grasp. This is one of those things for me to where in small chunks, I understand what these things do. I just didn't understand how they would work in action until you actually play it.
Exactly. And there was one part of it, I was like, until we do this, I'm not going to fully understand what I'm doing here. You've got in the rules, I think you even told me this, the rules said that, hey, you need to lay out the board so that you understand this game, because you're going to have to go through the various, iconography, the various layouts. You're going to need to understand this. And I was reading through the rules. I didn't have the board. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to understand this until I get there. Mm-hmm. Once we started going through it, it kind of flowed.
Yeah. And it did actually say in the rules, look, the best way to learn this game, set it up so you can see how things change and how the functions works as you take the action. And one thing that is critical about this game is a formula that is important throughout the game. And maybe it's just the engineer in me, but to me, it's just the process of how this whole game worked clicked. So it's like, formulas. I love formulas. It says, all right, in the rules, it says, from here on out, keep in mind that the appeal of your product is equal to the factory cost plus the product's quality plus your marketing minus the sell price that you've set for the product. That's the important formula. And that's the part it's like, I need to understand what each of these variables mean and how they're modified through gameplay. And honestly, after about 2 turns, the light bulb went on. I went, oh, I get it.
Exactly. And I'm going through the rules here. I'm sitting thinking, okay, what was it? There was that one part that I just, it was not. Now, I appreciate the fact that we were playing the shortened version.
Yes. Okay? This for a 4-player game, the long version of this game can take 3 to 4 hours. And what they do is for the shortened version is it's half the number of rounds, and one of your options called a shipping contracts is removed. You can still ship, but the contracts are removed. But to me, aside from the contracts, you play everything exactly the same way.
Mm-hmm. I would love to experience this game in the long if I have the patience for it.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, I understand what we're doing here. And it was about the economy phase. That's the one that, there's the multiple phases. We'll go into them in depth, but it was the economy phase, trying to understand the measuring of value, how you would produce the goods. Remember that? Mm-hmm. I kept thinking, okay, you have to walk through and say, okay, how much do we need? How much is wanted? Which ingenious thing, the population is going to determine. And I thought that was brilliant. I love that part of the game. Yeah. Brilliant. And that was key to the board. For someone to, don't explain it to me, you're going to have to walk me through that step so that I can understand, because that's key to the game. That's key to the game. Right,
it is. Now, everybody's player board is set in front of them, and you're going to have, there's 4, it's really hard to explain how this board's laid out, but what it does is allows you to build 4 different factories. There's 4 different products in this game that you're going to make. You're going to make food, clothing, cutlery, and luxury goods. I think they're like lamps. Yeah, lamps on there. Food's going to be the cheapest product, and obviously luxury goods is going to be the most expensive. And over the course of the game, you're going to build factories to produce those products to sell to the public. You're competing against other players producing those same goods, and you're trying to make sure that you sell more of your goods and you sell theirs, and that's where that formula comes back to. That's done through marketing, quality, and your sell price will determine the appeal of these goods for people to buy them. The more goods you sell, that's going to drive up your stock price. And then as your stock price increases, you're going to have options to buy your own stock. You're only buying your stock back. And at the end, number of stock times stock price, highest value wins.
That can make the difference in the game. It did. I mean, our little play made a difference for me. Is I had to sell early. I was concerned that I was not going to be able to feed my people, and I needed my money, and I sold my stock too early in the game. And then I had to buy it back at a loss.
Right.
Which was stupid. But I also didn't realize how quickly my stock prices would go up as we were figuring that out. How much did you sell? Did you sell, one of them, then you can move up 1. If you sell this amount, you're going to move up 2 on your stock price. Oh, did you sell the most? Well, then you get to move up again. I mean, I did not realize how quickly that would compound my cost up. And then all this is going on while we're learning it. And I completely forgot until I think it was the second round for us that I realized, wait a minute, stock is based on what's sitting on my board here. That times the number. Well, crap. I don't have enough of that. Yeah. I need to go buy that. Wait a minute. That's my company getting ready to produce. That's the one I invested in. So I know my stock price is going to jump up. I don't want that to happen right now. I want it to stay flat. That's how you win. And winning is fairly easy. Now, when we're playing the game, it's a very neat mechanic where we have tiles that we'll be placing out, and we'll pay the administration cost to place these tiles out there. And there's various ones like hiring people, maybe upgrading the factory, things like that. And there's all these tiles that are out there. And on your turn,
which is really your action tile.
Your action. Yeah.
On your turn, you're going to pick a tile and you're going to play that action.
You're playing that action, and based on where you put it, you will get certain things or additional benefits that may come in, and you can go from there. And so you've got to have money to pay for that, because if you don't, you've still got to play an action tile, and you may have to take a loan. A lot of stuff. It's a lot of work. And Bert said that. It's a lot of work.
So one of the guys I play with, Bert, said, this just feels like a job. It's like, it is. It is, because at the beginning of the game, there's going to be this draft phase. If you want to just start out, it'll say, here, everybody take these 2 factories, but you typically have a draft. You're going to draft 2 factories to kind of start out with. You set your starting prices and you're off and running. And then what happens is each year, each factory is going to run. So the first factory of each year is always going to be food. So food, at the end of this round, all people who have food factories are going to produce. Now, everybody gets to take one action during this round. Even if you don't have a food factory, this is what's important is like, well, the next round is going to be a clothing factory that runs. I do have a clothing factory. I need to go ahead and prep myself for when this factory runs. Do I have the right number of employees there? Do I want to upgrade anything? Do I want to replace employees with machines so that when I have to pay them, it's a little bit cheaper? So there's always a lot of forward thinking in this game before you have a factory that's getting ready to run, because when it comes to the production phase, which we'll talk about, a lot of things happen, and stuff that happens during that phase is predetermined by actions you've taken beforehand.
Mm-hmm. Right. But you really have to plan it out. Now, and that's something I forgot, Marty. When you talked about each of the factories produce in a certain order, I remember you saying the tiles were random, but the food's always first, but there are different types of things that are going to happen with the food tile, where, you know, it would go up and the various actions that were on the back. If there was something random in there that I didn't realize.
So on the back of the tile, it would say how many like unemployment goes back to being in the employment pool to be able to be hired. And you're also working against the game called the neutral importer. It sets their appeal. So not only you're competing against others, there's also this other game thing called the neutral importer that's also fighting for products, that will be fighting for products at the end during the production phase against everybody else. And so, so you talked about these advertising fees. They start at $2 and they go up to $10. And some of them, it doesn't matter where you place them wherever you want. Some of them, it's like, okay, if you want to increase the quality of your product, you've either got to play it in the $6 administration or the $12 administration, which you can't even get to unless you get a special tile that allows you to be able to use that. And like the quality action, that's where you get to increase the quality of one of your goods. Going back all the way to that formula I talked about, increasing your quality increases your appeal. Another one of your actions is do some marketing. I want to run ads in the local London Times or whatever the newspaper was at the time. And I'm going to pay us X amount. I'm going to run some ads. There's a die that you're going to put in for that particular factory. It's going to be set at a certain value of whatever you set your marketing at. That also adds to your appeal. But what's interesting about the marketing portion of it is after that factory runs, your marketing die decreases by 1. So if it was 2, it decreases to 1 because you have to keep paying for marketing. You got to keep paying to run ads. But quality, once you increase the quality, it always stays there. So everything is about this appeal. How do I increase my appeal? And all action tiles have a secondary action, and some of those are change the value of your good. Now, Tony, this is one of those things that we found. Turn order is extremely important. And the best place to be is last when you have a factory that's getting ready to run, because on your turn, you can set the price to make sure that your appeal is better than everybody else's.
Yes, turn order really mattered, but also I don't think it mattered as much as trying to invest in all these factories. You really need to be conscientious of what you're trying to do. I'll admit it did matter that, am I going to have the right turn? Where am I in this turn? Because if I produce a bunch of stuff and I get out of the market, then I better have a warehouse. Because if I don't have that warehouse, then all those goods go to waste. They're useless. I finally got mine up and running. And that's the thing I wanted to really experience in that game, was using the warehouse, being able to sell through a contract phase, through another mechanism than just when the factory or during that phase of the game, to be able to sell to the other individuals that are out there. That was a way that quickly gave me a lot of money.
That was the shipping. The shipping tiles. You buy shipping tiles of certain sizes, and that allows you to ship excess goods that you have during production or from your warehouse overseas at the factory price, which is higher than what your asking price is going to be probably when you're selling to the local market.
Mm-hmm. But if you overproduce, you can put them in your warehouse, or you can take the contract. Or is it the contract? I'm trying to find it right now.
Yeah, there's a shipping contract. If you have a shipping contract for that item, then you can ship that good if you have the right ship to.
Right, but there was also an action tile that allowed you to take the ability to produce. Probably it was called the production.
Yep, it's the production tile. Yep.
So you had to plan that also. Hey, if I do the production tile and I have the warehouse, I'll store these goods, and then later I'll ship these goods, and I'll get a lot more money for it than what I may have sold it for during that factory, or I can use it out of turn when my factory's not coming up. Once again, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. And then it's like, okay, do I have one of every factory? Do I take the factory action to add more factories, or do I upgrade a couple of the ones I have and keep making them better and better to be able to produce more of that thing and keep increasing the quality? And then once I do that, there's another action you can take called where you're adding workers, because every factory has a certain line. And guys, it's really hard to explain without seeing the board. I'm not going to try to explain it, but the way everything is laid out on your board, there are these vertical areas that represent your factories, and you can assign workers down vertically down your factory to represent those lines that are running. So you could use the employment tile to take meeples or pawns from the employment area, put them into that zone. But what that does is, the more workers that are out in factories, that board also indicates where you pull them from, the demand for the particular goods. The first column, you're going to look at what's the highest pawn that was taken. It'll have a value beside of it for the food in the first column. That means when production runs, it could be 12. Okay, there's a demand for 12 food. And so as workers come back from unemployment, they fill in those holes. And as there's more people that they're there to work, then the demand is going to be less because they're not making money. I think that's what's clever too. The more people that are working, then they have income to spend on these goods that you're producing.
And you didn't want people to take in take in a bunch of employees and drive up the price, because that's a way to stick it to somebody. Hey, I'm going to put some employees here. Don't you do that. If you do that, that means it's going to cost us more. And now I'm going to have to pay more people. Well, look at your factory. You're full of people. They want to be paid. Also, your wharf or your captain on the ship and your warehouse, they all need to get paid. So, yeah, I think I need some for the next turn. So I'm going to go ahead and drive up that price on you. And it adds up quick.
It does, because during the production phase, you're going to determine every factory. Let's say this, the food factory that's running. Everybody who has food will say, okay, how much are you producing this turn? Once that's done, there is a central board that we all track what our appeal is and how much we're producing for each factory. The person who has the highest appeal starts selling theirs first until it matches the next highest appeal. And then both of you are selling concurrently, and you keep going till either you run out of goods to sell, or the demand wasn't enough for the amount of goods made, And those who had the lowest appeal probably have excess goods that are then either lost, could be shipped, or sent to the warehouse at that point. But regardless, the workers that are in that factory must get paid at this point. That's determined by also that employment board. The more workers that are taken, the higher it costs to pay each of those workers. It could easily go from 2 to 3, depending on what happened the last round. And then you have to pay $3 per worker. How do you make it cheaper? Another one of the actions you could take on your turn is machines. Replace the workers with the factory machine. It only costs them $1 to run as opposed to paying for a full-time employee.
Mm-hmm. I was all about firing them people. Tired of them.
Oh.
I mean, I think you've covered the majority of them next to stock exchange and selling products from the warehouse.
Yeah, stock exchange is just how you could take an action to buy stock. Sell stock, buy stock, sort of deal. But but like I said, is each round you're going to run each of the 4 factories, and you're going to do that multiple rounds depending on whether you're the long version or the short version. So I'm going to start wrapping this up. I've got several notes here that I just wanted to mention. The actions that you take very much matches the theme of the game. It feels like you're a person that's trying to build and run factories and create products. Every action that you take changes and modifies how well that you're going to do. The way the appeal is calculated may be hard to understand at first, but once you play it, it 100% makes sense. The only fixed thing is the factory cost. That is something that's set depending on the level of your factory. The other 3, the marketing, the price, the quality, is all set by the player. This is one of those games that I enjoyed my time playing and thinking about it. Every action fits perfectly with the theme and the goal of the game. Tony, I really thought this was perfect player interaction. Were we stealing from each other? I mean, maybe there was a time where there was an upgrade tile or an action tile that maybe you wanted off the board that somebody took from you. But other than that, the player interaction is constantly looking at who you're competing against and how can you make sure that your appeal is greater than theirs. So even though it's not necessarily head-to-head, it's somewhat semi-head-to-head because what actions other people take will affect how you run your company.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I keep saying this. There was a lot of pre-planning. I enjoyed that part of the game. I never felt that it was just some dry spreadsheet either.
Mm-mm.
I got to think through this. I know which actions. When do I want to take these? And I also didn't feel like, people have heard me on this podcast, I hate a lot of downtime. I never felt like there was a lot of downtime in this game between everybody's turn. Yeah, people were sitting there trying to figure out what actions. Yeah, we had to do some rollback, but I felt a lot of that was just relearning the game.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt like it moved at a pretty good pace, and I didn't feel like we had sat at that table as long as we did.
Right. We did sit there a while. But when you think each round, each person's only taken one action. So after 4 actions were taken, the factory runs. Then a lot of things happen at that point, and then you just move to the next factory. So it is a constantly flowing game. I am so glad I got it again and stuck with it to play through it because would I sit down and play the full version? I know it's going to be long, 100% yes. Because then you double the number of actions, then holy cow, maybe I could run 3 factories, run a factory all the way up to level 4 to create incredible goods, have a very active warehouse and shipping going on with the contracts and everything like that. It just gives you the ability to do everything. Quickly, I will say there were a couple production issues I just want to mention. The boards warped. They were nice double layer boards, but some of the bigger ones started warping. So, and I read other people say that they kind of had the same issues too. I don't know if it was a moisture issue or something. So I did kind of have to, kind of bend them to get them in place. Luckily, being double-sided, it wasn't that bad because things would stay in place. But that was just a little thing. And also storage. I can't get everything in the box. They include this one insert for putting in a lot of stuff, and I got it in there, but I cannot get everything fit back to where that top will fit flush with the bottom. The top of the box is just going to stick up some. So if anybody wants to make a special insert for Arkwright that holds everything, I would be really interested in possibly purchasing that.
Have you checked Etsy yet?
I have not. This is a newer product. It would be great if just forget a folded. Is it folded spaces? Folded place?
Folded space.
Yeah, if they come up with one. They have done some other stuff for Capstone and some of their games. It'd be cool if they come up with a foam core solution for this. Because there's a lot of pieces. There's a lot of stuff. The setup is long. There's a lot to get set up in this game. Thankfully, all those worker meeples are stored together. That's one thing nice about the insert. It's a plastic piece that sits over the double layer board that holds the meeples in place. So you just take it off and take off the plastic piece and they're ready to go. So that's really nice. It's just at the end of the game, you have to put all of them back sort of deal. But that's when you got 4 people that can do it with you. So Tony, big hit for me. One of the best Euros I've played in a long time. I love economic games. It's not really, Bert said, this really isn't a stock trading game. True, it's not. But it's still very much an economic game, and I've always loved economic games. I'm
with you there. I enjoyed the play of it, and like I said, it was not one of those things where I felt like I was at the table too long. I never felt like there was a lot of downtime. I challenged myself to think through it as to what I want to do, and it brought back, there's so much that we didn't get to try with the skinny down version. Like, I really felt satisfaction when I shipped my goods off. I was like, man, I am really missing out on this part of the game because I felt like our turns were so quick, or that the game was going to end so quick for us that I could not get that stood up. And I also felt the frustration of the game when I wanted to put stuff in the warehouse and yet it still sold. And I was like, I don't want it to sell. Somebody else come in here and do that.
This is interesting. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
But it could be one of those things where if you're fighting against somebody else, you set your price so freaking high, there's no way it'll sell locally to have carryover to ship out. So whatever you do sell, you get premium price for, and you still get to ship them.
Well, it's the price of the factory cost, wasn't it? It wasn't the price that you said. I don't remember.
No. It is the factory for shipping, but to guarantee you have some left over for shipping, drive up your local price so that nobody wants it. The appeal's super low.
Right. And then ship it in a later turn. I didn't get to explore that.
Right.
And I want to explore that. I'll also definitely want to do the punishment of the East Indy contract. I want to try that out.
What I mean by the punishment is that you're probably thinking, why would you ever sell locally? Every time you ship, your stock marker drops 1 on the track. It doesn't necessarily mean your stock value drops by 1. There's it's not like a really victory point marker, but there's a marker that's has gradients underneath it of the value of your stock. So maybe 12, 13, and 14, your stock is worth 12. And then 16, 17, 18 is worth, 14 or $13. It will move on that upper track. It'll drop down by 1. So if you ship too often, you're actually driving down your stock price. So you got to be careful if you did it too much.
But it could set you up for a good cause to buy your stock back, which is another aspect of, yes, this was work, but at least it was enjoyable work.
Yeah, I agree. And I know this may be too heavy for some, but if it's not, I'm telling you, if the idea of mimicking running factories and everything just working exactly like you expect it to in the business world and the manufacturing world, then you got to give Arkwright a try, the new version from Capstone Games.
Head over to miniaturemarket.com for all those games that you need when you are snowbound at home, because you look at that shelf and you're like, I've played that. No, I've played that. I don't want to play that again. I don't need to play that. Miniature Market has what you need. Be sure to sign up for the newsletter for all the daily deals that are coming out. I mean, there is stuff flashing on the webpage. I know personally I go out to their site at least daily to see if anything has changed, what their fresh deals are, what other things I can find. I'm also using them to look for all my Gamegenic stuff for Star Wars Unlimited. I wish they would hurry up and get some of the binders back in. But do I need to check the site daily for that? No. I set the reminders. I put in notifications so that when it does come back in stock, I'll get an email and I'll be able to head over to miniaturemarket.com to be able to put it in my account, put it in my cart, and go ahead and check out. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I've got some other things that I want to get. Can't beat that free shipping. Get up to $100 and you will have free shipping. miniaturemarket.com.
Hey, Marty.
Yes.
Let's say that it's your birthday.
Okay.
Let's say that it is snowing for the first time in years.
Okay.
Let's say we're wondering, what are we going to do on your birthday while we're snowed in?
Okay.
What would you want to do?
You actually gave me this option.
Oh,
You said, all right. So I've told this story many times before on the show. It's like when I get Vanessa to play a game, there's two questions. What type of game and how long does it take?
That's right.
Being the sweet wife she was, she's told me before it snowed.
Not was, still
Yes.
currently.
Like a week before, we were wondering if it was
yeah.
going to snow or so. She said, look, I'll make you a deal. If it snows
Let's
on your
make a deal.
if
Door
it
number
snow-
one, door number two.
If it snows on your birthday, I will play a game with you for 3 hours.
Which in Vanessa terms is like
eternity.
literally 12 hours.
And I said, okay. Well, as time got closer, I said, I guess I better be picking out a game. And I did. And the game I picked out, now I didn't pick some dry Euro. No, y'all. I know what Vanessa liked. Vanessa likes theme.
Vanessa likes theme.
Vanessa likes theme. And
Go ahead.
and a little bit of chance, maybe, and a little bit of story.
A whole lot of story.
And so I said, Vanessa, would you sit and play with me the Arkham card game, the new scenario that just came out at Gen Con, so it's not been out too long, called Film Fatale.
Yes. Now, we got to go back to, because Vanessa typically doesn't play card games, deck building games.
Tony and I had this discussion before. So deck building is a like Dominion where you build the deck as you play. And then there's pre-constructed deck building where you build a deck before you come into play.
Okay, I just stepped into something that I really didn't know. I like to play games with dice and chance, and not to where I have to play cards from my hand.
Okay, there you go.
As I tip my hat to Mr. Marty.
So knowing that, I went out and built a deck for Vanessa. I just said, hey, do you...
Oh, well, wait a minute. I immediately said yes. There was no wavering. I was like, yes.
Yes.
And it is from reading Rosemary Jones' books. She took me into the world of like actors and that part of Arkham, which was very interesting to me.
Would you have read the book from Rosemary Jones, The Mask of Silver?
Yes, and I loved it. I just got to say real quick, they were filming a movie in a house in Arkham.
Okay.
Yeah, so I loved it. Loved the idea of actors and actresses, and then went on to read the other books of Rosemary Jones, which had that actress in them. And anyway, when you said to play that, I was all about it and ready.
Yep.
I was ready to go to Arkham with you.
So without doing any...
Without my dice.
Without the dice, because you're pulling tokens in Arkham. Without going into any spoilery, it's just set
Okay.
up like this. Investigators...
Is that a word? I like it. Spoilery.
If it's not, I just made it up. I'm sure. I don't know. So we've been asked to come to a movie lot, Lot C. Strange stuff has been happening.
Strange things
And on
are
this-
afoot
And on this...
at Lot C.
Oh, I was trying to keep this under 10 minutes, y'all.
I'm sorry.
All right. So there are 3 movies being shot at Lot C.
Uh-huh.
A
Yes.
prehistoric movie,
Yes.
a sci-fi movie, and a gothic movie. And we're investigating each of these sets. Now, what's cool about this is, depending on how the first act goes, the story that you follow will be in one of those sets.
So, yes. So we just jumped in. We started playing and gathering our clues. And based on what we chose, then we found which lot we had to go to
Yep.
and save.
Yeah. So
It was very fun.
yeah. So what's interesting about that is that means there's 3 paths you get to take, which means Film Fatale has a lot of replayability.
Yes. You either go to the jungle prehistoric lot or the gothic lot with the
castle.
yes,
and,
and the Contessa, right?
Yes.
Was it? Yes. And then there was the sci-fi
Right.
lot. So we've done 2 of them so far.
Yes.
Yep. So we haven't been to the sci-fi lot.
Right.
Can I say we saved the world from the evil Contessa?
We did save the world from the evil Contessa, but unfortunately,
Let me say it, but the world is like gone awry with dinosaurs now. It's like picture the worst Jurassic Park, and they're going and they're getting everybody.
Yeah.
We lost.
The Jurassic Park when they got out, which is like all of them. That's pretty much what this is.
I know. It was fun. It was great. And I did. So the first time we played it, I did struggle with, what does this card mean? And I forget with all the cards and the exhausting, and I was exhausted. And what are we doing? But I really started catching on, and I had a nice deck or nice hand there at the end, and I was getting the hang of it. I did like drawing the tokens, but I do miss rolling the dice for that. I feel like, or maybe it was just my luck, I do worse drawing tokens. Like the very first draw, you didn't even tell me it was in there, and I drew the one token that automatically fails. And you had to say, oh, yeah, that's the automatic fail. We never draw that, and I drew it like 3 times.
That's the 1 in 16 chance you have auto failing.
Yeah, and I did it 3 times.
It's so funny. And I tell Vanessa, so it has to do with mathing on your skill check, right? And I said, well, Vanessa, there's only one token you can push. She said, don't even say it. Just don't even say it.
I had a lot of fun playing this scenario.
You don't get into the deck building part, the deck construction. So I asked you, which do you want to do? Do you want to fight or get clues? You said in this situation, you'd like to get clues. So I threw one together for you for that, and I ended up being the fighter.
Yeah.
And so what's interesting about this too is you can also, even if you've done all 3, you can reapproach it with different investigators, different decks that play different styles and stuff like that. So what's nice about this is like, I can't remember, it's really cheap. $20, $25 is not very expensive. But if you play this game, there's a lot of scenarios that Arkham Horror has released over the years. This is up there as one of my favorite. I think it's a story that's very easy to follow. Some of them get really weird with Dreamscape and stuff. This one's very straightforward, which made it very enjoyable.
Well, it's straightforward. It's fun. It's current. It's, it was a lot of fun. You meet different characters.
Yes. Yep. Along the way, because there's like different actors that you're going to run across and stuff like that. It was a hit for me. Sometimes scenarios fall flat. This one did not.
Oh, yeah. It was a hit for me. And this is just like a plug. We watched the series Wonder Man and loved it. And a lot of it took place on a movie lot, a studio lot. And we just kind of went from watching that into playing this. So it was very fresh in my brain of, this is what a lot looks like. This would be the craft service. This is I could really picture everything, and it was fun.
Yeah, it was good. So the designers of this one did a fantastic job. And with the new core set that's going to be coming out, there's a new release schedule, and they're going to continue to release not only single snot scenarios.
So we have that. You said, did you say mathin' a minute ago? You said mathin'. It had a lot of mathin'. And then what was the first one? I've already forgotten.
Spoilery?
Spoilery, mathin', and...
snot scenarios. So anyway, these are single shot, but they're going to be coming out with some short scenarios too, which are just 3 scenarios, 5 scenarios. So I can't wait to see how, when this game is refreshed, coming in March, maybe now that you kind of got a little bit of a bug, maybe you'll try the new core set with me.
I knew you were going to say that. I was sitting here thinking, this was all just a manipulative ploy to get me to play it. Of course.
Nice.
Now we did the first one we played, we did it straight through, and it wasn't that long. I can't remember how long it was. Now the second one we had to pause, but not really.
You're talking about of this one, the first act. The first act's really short. The second act's more in depth. Yes.
Probably had to pause to eat or something.
Yeah.
We made snow cream.
And
we built a snowman.
And we left it set up. And after we were done, Vanessa said, okay, set it up again because I want to see what one of the other places look like. And we did it. So we just finished it. And that's where the Allosaurus got loose and rampaged.
Happy birthday, Marty.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And did it take 3 hours? Well, cumulative, it took more than 3 hours. So thank you so much. That was a wonderful birthday present. And y'all, that is a Film Fatale, the new scenario, or the latest scenario. Arkham Horror, the card game. So several years ago, we got to play a co-op game from GMT Games from a designer, Herman Luttman, called Plum Island Horror. This is a game that has kind of a pulp fiction feel. I love the theme of the game. There's an island off the coast of South Carolina, fictitious island called Plum Island. There's a chemical plant out there. Big electrical storm hits, blows up all these chemicals, kills everybody, but all of a sudden the chemicals seep into these people and they become horrors. Now they're working on the island from the factory towards the mainland, and we, as different factions around the island, are trying to fight these horrors and keep them from getting there. So it feels almost like a heavy version of Pandemic, a heavy co-op game. And Tony, we played it. I love the theme. I love the actions that it does. The only issue was it's a long game. This is stated at being 45 minutes per person. So a 4-player game, yes, you're looking at 3 hours, which is quite a long time, which is why I was excited when Herman Luttman came out with an expansion called More of a Bad Thing that includes extra factions, a new special difficulty mode, a semi-cooperative mode, but also scenarios that significantly shorten the game. We brought this game to game night to play expansions with the guys who had never played it, and we got a chance to do it. And Tony, it does shorten the game because instead of playing 9 rounds, you only play 3.
You're still stopping the horrors. You still got to save the world. I mean, the base concepts are there. Once Marty put it on the table, I didn't recall it as well, but once we started going over and said, oh yeah, I remember how this works. I remember what I need to do. Oh yeah, this is one of those things where I only get 1 action on the first turn. This thing ramps up pretty darn quick, but we're going to play a shorter game? Because I do remember when we first played it, it was one of those games that I felt like it kind of became, I don't want to say repetitive. It felt like I was doing the same thing over and over.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I was looking forward to it. Like you, will I have a better experience making it a shorter game? Because in that first game, it took forever. I kept doing, the same things.
Yeah. Now, if you want to hear a deep dive into that first version, that's actually on our episode 313. This goes back to January 30th, 2024. So 2 years ago. You'll find it there. A full review of the game, explaining all the rules and everything. So we don't want to repeat ourselves here. But again, you're just taking actions to move people around, fight horrors, repair bridges and stuff. The whole thing is saving survivors. Your goal is try to save the survivors on the island. So some of the actions are guiding survivors down through the map, try to get them to a helicopter pad, try to get them to a ferry. If somebody's hurt, you're going to try to heal them. All this stuff is in there that you basically take as player actions on your turn. There's multiple factions. Every faction's different. Every little standee for the factions has a special ability. All that is there. Now you've just got more factions to consider in this expansion, which is always a good thing too. The scenario is instead of you've got to get 26 people to win the game, instead it says after 3 days, we're going to use a formula to calculate some stuff. Mm-hmm. How far did the monsters get down? And there's going to be victory points based upon that. And you subtract that from the number of survivors that you actually saved. And as long as you have a positive number, you win. So it's like, here's your goal. In 3 rounds, can you save enough people in order to win the game, sort of deal. And then there's 3 scenarios, short scenarios that are played on the different days that all have different winning conditions.
Did I have fun with it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I did.
I did too. Again, the kicker for me with this game was it was just long. And I've always thought, Tony, when we did BBQ, this would be a good game for BBQ. And I thought, no, it's not. It's because it's taking 3 to 4 hours for 4 people to play, and nobody probably wants to do that. Plus, the setup's a bear. The setup, there is a lot of pieces in this game. When you look at the number of pieces and everything, it's like, oh yeah, I can see this being a GMT game. There is a lot of cardboard on the table. And there's a lot of stuff to get set, get going. And there's a lot of actions that you have to follow. There's a lot of little things like, well, if this happens, then this happens, but in this condition, this happens. And if the stack is this many, they move this many. If you're fighting here, you roll this number of dice and you're going to take this damage per this. A lot of that you got to kind of keep track of. All that is in the expansion. So once you learn how to play even the shortened version, you know the full rules anyway. It's just the winning conditions are different and you're playing basically 6 more rounds. It's interesting. After it was over, Mark said, who had never played the game, he said, I felt like I didn't experience the full game. And I think that is a fair statement. He did not experience the full game because this game ramps up pretty quick and it's pretty difficult by the end. And it just didn't have time to ramp up in a short scenario.
Yeah. I'm with you. The various mutations, the tension of the tower defense coming down the board at you, we didn't really experience that. And we also didn't get the experience of having the various actions, our special actions of our characters that, were key in the first play that we had of that, using certain ones. Also the discussion, the interaction between all of us. We really didn't have that in this for a co-op game. So I appreciate it shortening the game, but I also felt like we lost some of that when we were playing.
Right.
Even though it was first time playing for those that were at the table, it wasn't, something that they know how to play Pandemic. They know how to play these games that have the various special abilities of one person, but maybe it was a little overwhelming for their characters. Instead of having one with a special ability, you now have possibly 5. We also got rid of the fortresses. Or the compounds.
Yep.
Yeah, the compounds that you can go out there that will do certain advantages for you. My characters pretty much were lost on what I could do. I couldn't save anybody, couldn't help anybody because of where I was on the board. I was just basically nothing to see here, people. Let's move along. Let's get to the bridge. Come on, let's go. Let's go.
Yep.
But I still enjoy the game.
I agree. It gives me the taste of how the game plays, but it doesn't give you that full experience. And I guess the nice thing is you could play through the other 2 scenarios. They do score a little bit differently. But here's the thing is, Marty, what if I just love the full experience of the game? Then you're going to want to buy this because all those extra factions are in there, which is super nice. The semi-co-op mode, Tony, is really cool because what it is, instead of winning together as a group, you can earn points by doing certain things, like by killing certain horrors and stuff during the game. So you may decide cooperatively, it makes sense for Tony to do this, but I don't want him to kill that thing. I would rather I kill it and I get points for myself for the end of the game because there's a standalone winner at the end of the game. So that adds a whole new mechanism of like, you're still all playing against the game, but you're also playing against each other for that ultimate winner. So that's added in this game too. So there's a lot of stuff in the expansion to give you a lot of replayability. Again, there's a mode where you can make it extremely difficult. If you felt like this game's too easy, whatever, don't worry. Herman's got you taken care of and can make it really difficult for you. So number 1, if you're just curious about, I'm just curious about the Plum Island horror in general. Again, go back and listen to our full review in episode 313. And maybe we can put a link to it in our show notes so you can just easily click over to it. And if you have it and you're just like, am I interested in this more of a bad thing? Again, there's a lot there. More search cards, event cards, more mutations, a new thing called a booby trap combat marker. So a lot of it's in this package that you might want to consider from GMT Games and designer Herman Lutman.
5-minute initiative begins in 3, 2, 1.
All right, got another nature game on the table. This time it was Pondscape. Not Pond Scum, not any other things we kept saying at the table. It's Pondscape. And this is designed by Thomas Holick. And we got it from Capstone Games. Now, this is a game where we got some frogs. We're collecting frogs out here. We're getting frogs. We're going out to the pond. We're not going to try to eat them. We're not going to eat their legs or anything. But we're trying to get a habitat of frogs that are going on out there so that by the time we get to the end of the game, whoever has scored the most points wins. So what's unique about this is you have a marketplace where you will be on your turn drafting a frog. And you'll pick from 3 available frogs. What?
Frog or habitat card.
Frog or habitat. Thank you. Various cards in the marketplace, and there you've got a selection of 3. Depending on which one you take will determine if the jumping frog of Calaveras County is going to move a certain Mark Twain throwback there. Thank you.
Nice. Very good.
Thank you. Will move on some type of system of bugs. He will jump to certain bugs that he may want to talk about, and we'll figure out why we need to track this. And you will take that card and then you will play a card. It doesn't have to be the one you just picked up, into a grid of 3x5 cards, 5 columns, 3 rows. At the end of the game, you're going to score based on 5 categories. One of those categories is based on the cluster of frogs you have and their scoring conditions. Another one is a landscape card. It depends on the number of diverse landscapes you have in your tableau of cards.
Yeah, those are the habitat cards we were talking about earlier.
Those habitat.
Mhm.
Yeah, Pondscapes,
landscape, Pondscape, landscape.
It's all there.
Habitat. Yeah, it's the same thing.
Beautiful artwork, family fun game we've got going on here. Not a lot of interaction. I will say that. So
you might could hate draft some. I mean, you see somebody going after a huge cluster of particular frog. The larger the cluster is, the more points they're going to score. Now, and I'm not going to talk about each of the 8 different types of frogs, but they all have a different way to score, and a lot of it has to just depend on the stuff that it's touching. Hey, I want to touch of each other type of water, or I want to have to make sure this cluster has at least 3 water around it, sort of deal. I think what's interesting, Tony, is that you could play a card face up or face down to show the water side. Now, the water side could show some additional food icons in the upper left, and a lot of these cards will have like those bugs we're talking about. That leaping frog's going around and pointing towards 2 of them at a time. They can have those showing because it's going to be important in scoring. But anyway, you do have the option to turn a frog upside down to play its water side, and some of these cards have an action in the bottom. One of those might be to move that leaping frog a certain number of spaces, 1 or 2 spaces, and tuck cards. So in each player's tableau, you also had those 5 different types of food, and you could take cards from your hand and tuck them under that type of food. The reason why is because at the end of the game, another score condition is for each card underneath a certain type of food, you're going to get 1 point for every icon that's showing in your tableau of 15 cards. For example, if I have 5 mosquitoes showing on my cards in the pond, and there's 4 cards tucked under the mosquito card, 5 times 4 is 20. I get 20 points for that particular thing.
And if you have the Panamanian golden frog in a cluster of other Panamanian golden frogs, he likes the fact that you've tucked at least 4 cards under a single food card. So you can do some combo-licious here. You can score on that. When we played this, I'll have to admit, I was concentrating on clustering of frogs, and I ignored something. I don't think, and you know how we've talked about this in other games, you can sometimes ignore various tracks and still be okay. I don't think you can do that here. I think you need to pay attention to all the scoring mechanisms.
Right. I try to ignore the whole scoring of habitat cards. You get points for the different number of habitats you have, and I didn't have any, and that ended up costing me a lot of points in the end. So you do need to have a good assortment of clusters of frogs. And by the way, bigger clusters, the better. Instead of having 1 of every frog, maybe you want a big cluster of 1, a big cluster of another, multiple habitat cards, some water cards showing, because some of those water cards also have just straight victory points on them, or maybe those water cards have the right food type there for the cards that you've tucked, or maybe they have the action for even tucking cards. I don't think you can ignore any scoring thing. It's just the scoring that you think is best for you. Nature game, draft a card, place a card. It seems like there's a lot of that. So what makes this different? I think the clustering, instead of each thing must have this, meet this condition, it doesn't matter as long as the cluster as a whole meets the scoring condition of that type of card, that you're good. I feel that's kind of unique. The tucking of cards is also kind of unique. And the fact the cards are 2-sided, and whichever one you put face up, face down will determine your scoring at the end.
I'm with you there. All in all, I mean, take a look. It's, ages 7 and up, so a quick game. I think the scoring will be challenging for the younger ones in the house, but you can walk them through, but it will teach them some very logical steps from the standpoint of clustering and how to think through that. So that is Pondscape by Capstone Games.
5-minute initiative is complete.
Okay, I know for over 20 years, I have a game card that I've not had in my pocket because I have never played the game Final Fantasy VII. A lot of people say, look, if you haven't experienced Final Fantasy VII, it's just one of the best RPGs of all time. So several years ago, they made a remake. Here we go. Instead of a remake of the full Final Fantasy VII game, they're going to release 3 games. It's like taking The Hobbit, Tony, and splitting it into 3 movies. That's what they do with Final Fantasy VII, split it into 3 games. And the first part of that is called Final Fantasy VII Remake. It came out on Switch 2 recently, and I will say I'm only 8 or 9 hours into the game so far, of about a 25-hour game. and I'm absolutely loving it. I get what the appeal is. I've always heard, Marty, it's the story, it's the characters. It's 100% true. It's an engaging story. There's kind of like this main thing that's going on, but there's hints of things that's going on. Just like, what's going on here that makes you want to play the game. The characters are interesting. There's some humor. The combat is really intuitive. You can make it as simple or as hard as you want, depending on the game settings. The character progression is kind of interesting too, because you can, as you get XP, you can upgrade weapon skills, but then weapons you get have slots. So you remember in Diablo where you could slot gems and stuff and change the attribute of the weapon? They have the same thing here. There's this stuff called materia that you find as you play. And there's like one that does healing, one that does fire. And if you slot those into your equipment, those unlock those skills. And as you use more of that skill, you get a better version of that ability. So it's like, ooh, I want to ramp up and max my fire ability sort of deal. So the character progression is really cool. I'm just really enjoying it. I get the appeal of this game. I've already heard rumors that the second one that's already out will come out on the Switch also, and I will be picking it up. And they haven't announced the third one yet, but it should be coming possibly into this year or 2027.
Okay. All right. I really need to try some other games. I'll have to admit that. I need to sit down and give some games a try. I just haven't found a time to do it. I mean, 10 minutes do my dailies on Guild Wars. That's really all I'm doing. I need to go back and actually you do some of the stuff I play or I've bought, you know?
Do you still have my Expedition 33?
I do. I need to go play that.
Okay.
It's upstairs.
Look, okay, so bring it downstairs.
I got to relocate the PlayStation. I got to do wah.
So here's the thing is, you'll know within the first hour whether you want to continue on or not. I'll give you that much. There's a story beat that happens in the game. And if you want to see what happens after that or not, that will determine whether you want to play it. You will have seen enough of the combat and how it works and everything, see if you like this type of game.
I know. And I need to go back and rewatch. I watched all these videos on things not to do because I hate screwing up at the beginning of a game. Screwing up.
You can't screw up at the beginning of this game because you can reslot everything. That's one thing I really appreciate. You can modify and change. You can't really gimp yourself in this game. It's like, crap, I wish I'd have taken this instead of this 16 hours ago, sort of deal.
Okay. Well, then I'll have to do that. Yeah, I should just bring the PlayStation down because it's cold upstairs here.
Hey, where you sitting right now, you could plug up the PlayStation to your monitor.
Okay. Can you play like for 15 minutes and then stop?
Yes. You can save at any point in the game.
Okay. Remember back in the day when you couldn't do that?
Yes. I do. I also remember back in the day too when I had to have a sheet of paper and a pencil beside my couch so that when I got to the save code, I could write down what the save code was.
That's right. Oh, yeah. Because, we didn't know that, did we? Yeah, you had to do that. Had a long list of codes from the Lost Vikings.
Yes, I did. It's like, Lord, make sure. It's like, all right, I got to make sure to get this right because I do not want to do this puzzle again.
No. Get this jumping right. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, with that, we're going to go out and play in the snow a little bit.
I did make a snowman.
You did?
Yeah. Okay. Me and Vanessa made a snowman. She said she wants to make a snowman. So sitting right in our front yard, it's probably about 4.5, 5 feet tall. It's got a black cap, red scarf, a Smucker jar cap for its nose. I had 2 coal briquettes I stuck in for eyes.
Okay. Did you put a stump in the bottom of it?
Oh, so if somebody hits it. Oh, no. Mm-hmm. Luckily, we don't have. It's way up in the yard. I don't think anybody's going to come mess with that.
Yeah, I understand that. Maybe I'll go do that. And was she singing Frozen theme songs?
She was not. She wasn't like a huge Frozen person. So.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't.
It's not like she listens to the soundtrack or anything like that.
Like any other soundtrack in particular, not that I'm pointing to anything. So,
oh, you mean when she listens to her top 2025 songs on Amazon, it's just a bunch of K-pop Demon Hunter songs? Yeah, I know what you mean.
That's it. That's it. There you go. All right. With that, keep rolling dice
and taking names. Hey, y'all, if you want to support the show, you can head over to buymeamoonpie.com. It would greatly appreciate it if you want to just give a one-time donation or do a continuing donation. We appreciate all those that have supported us so far. It really helps keep the show going. And come join our Discord channel. You can find out that information and all for other social links over at our website, rolldicetakenames.com. Tony, with all the fresh snow, did you make yourself some snow cream?
No, my snow was yellow.